Hi, this is Alan Demon here and my lovely partner Aisha. And a while back I made a video called Why Not Live on a Narrowboat? And so this is an update of this because it's now December the 5th. We've had really icy weather. We've been cruising all the way down the Grand Union into London where we are now, and it is December the 5th. So, we may have some more information on why not live on a narrowboat. What do you think, Aisha? What would you say about that?
I definitely have a few things to say on that. Massive difference between winter and summer on a narrowboat. You'll notice a lot of people on the cut, that's the term we use for the canal, actually only live on the boats in the summer, and one of the reasons for that is it's hugely more expensive. So here's number one: much more expensive in the winter time. On average, we go through two and a half bags of coal a week. So that's £26-30 in coal a week. We go through a lot more diesel because we're using diesel to heat the boat as well. We go through massive amounts of wood. Wood is 10 quid a bag. You can zip through a bag of wood in a week without blinking. The time that you really want to have lovely hot baths, because it's so bloody cold, is the time when it's the hardest to have a hot lovely bath. It's fairly rare to have a bath even on a canal boat. We're a bit unusual in that. Most people have showers and time them to about 2 minutes. If you want to sink yourself into a lovely hot bath, get ready to run your engine for an hour and a half to get the thing hot. And even then you're probably only going to get half a bath. And I do love baths, so that's been hard to get my head around. Certainly expense, keeping warm is a huge deal. And also we're constant cruisers, as I think Alan's mentioned. That means we move every 2 weeks. How about you've got to move, but the weather's atrocious the day you need to move because your 2 weeks is up on your little mooring spot is also the day it is absolutely freezing and rainy and windy. My goodness, wind on a canal, that's another thing. Freaking terrifying, taking a 70-foot boat down a very windy canal in also driving rain. It's a very big difference between those two seasons. What happens is we're just basically an enormous sail, aren't we? And we just get pushed over. We usually get pushed over into large, expensive looking wide beams, which is particularly terrifying. If you are going to hit another boat, try and hit something a bit rough around the edges looking.
I just want to add something about the cold as well, that when you're constant cruising, you've got to stand out. Even if you're only doing, a few miles, you're going to be standing for hours on the stern. That means you're not moving around, and your body's getting really cold. So, you have to wear thermals or some sort of extra protection and stay really warm. And even then, with two of us, we take it in turns to come down and warm up, while the other one, goes back up on the stern to steer the boat. So there are real challenges.
Another challenge, finding mooring in the winter. A lot of the Canal and River Trust moorings, which these are the guys that run most of the canals in the UK, in England certainly, give up visitor moorings where you can usually moor for a couple of weeks. They give them up for winter moorings for other people to stay there permanently through the winter, because more sensible people than us actually stay put during the winter. Now this means for us it's really hard to find a mooring sometimes, especially when you're coming into towns as we are today, coming into Uxbridge. I wasn't sure we'd actually find a mooring at all. In London we're probably going to be double moored, so that becomes more difficult as well. Any other things that you can think of that, oh my god, what about the loo? The delights of pooing on the canal. Do you want to speak a little on that?
Well, just the way we've structured our boat is that we have our lovely stove, multi-fuel stove at the front. What's that got
to do with the loo?
Well, because when we heat the front part of the boat, but when you go into the bathroom, it is like being in an ice box. Okay, so be prepared. You're not. If it doesn't matter how long your boat is, if you know, if it's of a sufficient length, it's not all going to
No.
be warm throughout, so parts of it are going to be freezing. So here we are. This is another challenge.
Sub-zero bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Pumping out your toilet. If you've got there's kind of three ways to have loos on boats. You can have a pump out, where you pump out a sewage tank that you actually have on your boat, and I think you did a video on that actually, because we removed the one that we had from our boat. You can have a cassette, which means dragging great buckets of your own sewage up and down the canal until you can find an L-sand point to dump it into, which is a hideous thing to do. Or you can go compost, which is the one that we favoured. And then you compost your loo and find somewhere to compost the contents. But none of the above are quite as convenient as a lovely, cosy, warm bathroom in a 2 up, 2 down in the midst of winter, it has to be said. So if you are not of the hardy variety, think twice about canal boating. It is not for everyone. And if I might say one last thing as well, and I feel this is important to say, we do actually probably have too many people on the canal, so I'm always a little cautious about singing its praises, because truth be, certainly around the London area, it is now massively congested, and the problem of mooring becomes a bigger and bigger problem every day. So only do this if it's really something that you are very, very, very passionate about. It's not something you do on a whim or for a laugh, because it's already a congested environment, and also you don't want to waste your money putting money into something that you may not love come the winter period.
Yep. Yep.
Anything else?
No, no. I don't, well, one thing I would add, and that is that, you know, when you have a narrowboat, it's not like you can just forget about it and it will run itself. You do have to monitor it and look after it and maintain it really on a daily basis. Doesn't mean to say you're doing huge things every day, but you really have to check your water, your diesels, check the engine, you know, make sure you're not getting any leaks anywhere and so forth. You're on water, so, you know, there's a lot of water around, and you do have to constantly monitor it. Now,
and maintain and repair.
Yeah. So, and you need to be fairly handy. So, you know, having said all that, we're still here. And the freedom and independence that we enjoy, and the financial relief of not having to pay rent every
when we're not
month,
repairing things,
it is wonderful. So, you know, I hope we haven't painted it too black, but do think very carefully. There are good reasons why not to live on a narrowboat.